Okay, so we're going to look at a situation where we have a many-to-many relationship when we're looking at our entities. So let's take students. So that's the entity of students. And let's just take subjects. Okay, so we know that there is a relationship between these two, but we know that a student can take one or many subjects, and we know that a subject could have one or many students. So that's how that looks, but that is wrong. So let's put a big cross there if we can. And many-to-many is not allowed. So what we do then when we have a many-to-many relationship is we need to have another table, so a table in the middle. So we put the student table back here again. Just call it student, it's fine. And I'll put the subject table over here, leaving room for a middle table. Now, it's really good if you can think of what would be a reasonable entity or a reasonable thing in the real world that we could call this table in between, because this table is going to have a list of students and the subjects that they take. So I think a class list is a good name we could use. The class list there in the middle. And then, of course, there is a relationship between subject and class list, and a subject can appear one or many times on a class list. And then there is a link between student and class list, and a student can appear many times on class lists because a student can take more than one subject. Let's think what the data might look like in these tables then. So let's give ourselves 4 students with students ID 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just say that's Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Homer. So our primary key then in this table is the student ID. And then subjects, primary key, let's make subject code. So CS for computer science. Oops. FRE for French. HIS could mean history. And let's do one more, ENG for English. Okay, so some of these students will take some of these subjects. So let's start with Marge. Let's just say that Marge could take computer science, and let's just say for computer science her target grade is an A. Marge could also take history, and let's say her target grade for history is C. Bart then could take English, and his target grade could be a D. And Bart could also take history, and let's say his target grade is a B for history. Homer, let's say he's going to do computer science, and his target grade will be an A. And Lisa will do history, let's just say, and her target grade will be a B for history. Now, looking at this middle table then, it does make sense because if we take out all the CSs, that could be our class list for computer science. We've also got our students along here, but what we can see is if we're trying to find a way of getting a primary key for this table. Now, if we look at the field for student ID, well, that is not unique for each record. And if we look at the field for subject code, that is not unique either for each record. And grade, target grade is also not unique. So we're going to need a combination of keys. And we're going to take the two foreign keys we've got here. So we're going to take student ID and subject code. So we're not going to get that combination. So let's take a different color here on the highlighter. So if we think of 2, let's just take 2 and ENG. So that 2 means Bart. That's a student ID, it means Bart. And that ENG, we look up here in the subject table, well, that means English. We can only have one record in this table that is a combination of Bart and English. It's telling us that Bart takes English. It's also telling us his target grade for English. So that's what we do then when we have a many-to-many